You know, Dan, I'm willing to put a small wager on McCain taking Mitt Romney as his running mate. Isn't it sort of a natural? He takes somebody who at least gives some impression that he knows something about business and the economy?
I don't know. I don't think Romney does for McCain what he needs in two important ways. First of all, McCain needs to send a signal to the conservative base of the party that he understands their priorities, and I don't know if Romney helps him do that. Second, McCain is a more visceral politician than just about anybody I've ever worked with, and the two of them just don't like each other very much. And yeah, we can always talk about how Kennedy picked Lyndon Johnson and Reagan picked Bush Sr., even though they weren't so close personally. McCain's not nearly that good an actor.
Does visceral mean has a temper also?
He's got a temper. He admits it. But when he needs to control it, it's not a problem. But
what's it going to be like to be McCain's vice president if he wins?
I don't know. Honestly, in terms of the selection, I'd say he needs three things. He needs somebody who can help him reach out to conservatives. He needs somebody, ideally from outside of Washington, who can help him sell a message of change. And of course, he needs somebody younger, which doesn't eliminate anybody except for maybe Robert Byrd. You hear lots of talk about governors like Pawlenty from Minnesota, like Sanford from South Carolina. I think Bobby Jindal from Louisiana is too young. It undermines the McCain campaign's ability to question Obama's experience. The ideal pick, of course, would be former Governor Jeb Smith of Florida. But of course, as we know, Toby, Jeb's last name isn't Smith, so that one's not going to happen.
Right.
Who do you put on the ticket for the Dems?
If I had my way, I'd put Admiral Zinni on the ticket. I think one of these ex-military guys who don't like the war, didn't like the war, don't own the war, but who are, genuine heroes, I think would be a very good pick. Now, obviously, the downside of that is if these guys haven't been in the political arena, you can be in real war against a real enemy and still not have any appreciation of what a political war is like. So, you take a certain kind of risk with those guys. I think he could take, for example, Senator Webb of Virginia and accomplish a lot because this is a former Secretary of the Navy, former veteran, combat, comes from a military family, and a state that we think is going to be in play, Virginia.
If I were advising Barack Obama, if I had an emotional investment in him winning, I'd make the case for two particular running mates. One would be Joe Biden, the other one would be Bill Richardson. Both of them have strong foreign policy experience, extraordinary foreign policy experience, which offsets Obama's lack of experience. But Richardson, of course, brings something else to the ticket. Look at these statistics. In 2000, Al Gore drew roughly 64% of the Hispanic American vote. 4 years later, John Kerry drew 54% of that vote. Had Kerry been able to draw what Gore did on a proportional basis, John Kerry would have won the states of Nevada, New Mexico, and Colorado. John Kerry would have finished the 2004 election with 271 electoral votes, and he'd be running for re-election today. Given Obama's difficulty in attracting Hispanic American support in McCain's fairly centrist position on immigration, his advocacy for a naturalization process, you take a guy with the foreign policy and national security savvy of Richardson, along with the demographic outreach potential, and there you got a pretty solid ticket, my friend.
Well, yeah, I don't really disagree with that, and I think we're going to have an issue confronting that gap that you mentioned in the Latino vote. I do think it's very important, and I do think that our party takes it seriously. I think one difference, Dan, frankly, is, and I know the number the percentage that Bush got was pretty big in that community in '04. But these people are so anti-Republican compared to where they were. Both because of immigration and because of the economy. So, I think Barack can do all right. I love Bill Richardson, but I think without taking Bill Richardson, I think he'll do fine.
Well, it's interesting. We talk about some of the challenges Obama has in reaching out to particular demographic groups. We've talked about reaching out to working class voters. We've talked about his difficulty of reaching out to Hispanic voters. The other group which is causing him some difficulty is the Jewish American vote, which of course over the years has been overwhelmingly Democratic. And given questions that have arisen, not the spurious stuff about his religion, that stuff's disgusting and it belongs in the gutter, but I think the more legitimate questions about Obama's approach to the Middle East could cause him some difficulties with Jewish Americans. Across the entire country, that's a relatively small percentage of the vote. But in a few key swing states like Florida, states like Pennsylvania, and even states like New Jersey, Those states could be in play or lean Republican if Jewish Americans are suspicious of Obama come the fall.
Well, I guess we're just about at the end of this segment, but let me just say, if New Jersey's in play in mid-October or early November, if McCain's spending any time there or any money, I'll be shocked.